Hello everyone! Today, we're going to talk about the weak points or the most common issues with cars like the Audi A6 C5. I'll use my own car as an example. It's over 20 years old now. Let's start with the body. Since the car is old, the bodywork is where most of the complaints lie. But if you compare it to cars from the same years, Audi still looks much better in this area. The first thing to check is the front fenders, specifically the front wheel arches. Here, the Germans put sound insulation under the fender liner, which, as it turns out, traps water and causes the arches to rust faster than other parts. It's slightly better on this side, but the arches still need to be repainted or the fenders completely replaced. Then, take a look at the bottoms of the doors, as they're also prone to rusting first. If you examine the back left door, you can see where the paint has bubbled and blistered, with rust starting to come through. As for the hood, there's no rust to worry about because it's fully aluminum. Another problem area is the drainage behind the engine, where a drainage tray can get clogged with leaves. It's essential to clean this area periodically, or else you might end up like I did on an autumn day. When the drainage got clogged, water found its way in through the engine control module and ended up inside the car. I ended up having to lift the carpet completely and replace the comfort control module, which is located under the driver's footwell. Now, let's move on to the car's heart, the engine. There are some unpleasant issues here too. The main one is, of course, high oil consumption across all engines. If the rings haven't worn out or the valve seals haven't dried up, the owner just needs to top up a little oil. But if it's worse and the crankcase ventilation system is clogged, you might need to add several liters of oil every 10,000 kilometers. Another engine issue is oil starvation, where there isn't enough oil to lubricate the camshafts. After 200,000 kilometers, the camshafts can simply break. There's also the crankcase ventilation system flaw in the early models, where the ejector pump constantly gets clogged, and the system is designed so that crankcase gases, along with oil vapor, go directly into the engine intake before the throttle body. Many consider the valve cover gaskets a weak point due to frequent leaks. However, in practice, it's often a clogged PCV system, with crankcase gases looking for a way out through the valve cover gaskets. The next issue concerns the gas engines, a rattling noise near the chain tensioner. The chain starts rattling due to either stretching, oil draining from the variable valve timing actuator, or wear on the shoes. Since I have a 6-cylinder engine, there's a variable valve timing actuator on each cylinder head. One's here, and here's its control connection, while the other's over here. So there's double the chance of problems compared to owners with a single-row engine. If you hear a morning rattle, another possible issue is that the cylinder head doesn't retain oil overnight because there are 2 relief valves in the engine block valley that let oil drain back into the sump. Usually, replacing either the rubber seals on these valves or the valves themselves solves the problem. While we're under the hood, we can say that the power steering pump is a clear weak point for this model. Car owners clean the screen in the power steering reservoir, change the fluid from mineral to synthetic or vice versa, and flush the system. But the real issue is the poorly functioning power steering pump, which doesn't last long. Even used parts from dismantled cars are often low quality. To avoid overpaying for an original pump, you can use an identical one from a Chevrolet. Unfortunately, the low-beam headlights on the Audi A6 C5 are quite poor. Even if the car has xenon lights, the cloudy and faded reflectors don't give the brightness they should. The solution is to replace the headlights with ones from the Audi A6 C5 all-road version or to buy new bi-LED lenses. Starting with the second generation of the Audi A6, the suspension was made with aluminum control arms, and after the facelift, the steering knuckles also became aluminum. The suspension is delicate and requires attention. Typically, if it starts knocking, it's easier to buy a full set of control arms and replace everything at once rather than constantly crawling under the car to change one bushing or ball joint at a time. Be sure to check out my videos on the cost of a control arm kit and the process of replacing the control arms, ball joints, and tie rod ends. If your car isn't all-wheel drive, the rear axle is a beam that tends to bend over the years, causing uneven tire wear. Another issue involves rattling near the brake pads. This is due to play in the caliper bracket where the brake pads sit. This problem can be fixed by replacing the retaining springs or adding brake pad shims. In the interior, the dashboard starts to peel off in almost all cars. Usually you'll see these kinds of bubbles along the edges and around the central air vent. Another common problem is a sagging headliner. Attempting to glue it back rarely works, so you'll need to remove it entirely and reupholster it with new fabric. If you have the facelifted version, you might notice the soft touch paint peeling as the Germans started using water-based paint in 2001. Over time, the window regulator guides brake, causing the window to misalign, and it can't close fully as the safety system thinks there's an obstruction between the window and frame, lowering it back down. Electronics are probably the biggest issue with Audis from this era. The comfort control module is located right under the driver's feet, so any water that gets in here eventually seeps through the carpet and lands on the comfort module, corroding the contacts on the board. This leads to issues with the central locking, alarm, lighting acting up, or even windows raising and lowering on their own. The instrument cluster can also be a headache. If you have a trip computer, you might notice burnt-out pixels because the display signal runs through a ribbon cable that eventually starts peeling away. As more lines disappear on the display, the image slowly fades until it's gone, even though the display itself still works. If the instrument panel is VDO, there are fewer issues. But if you have the UN4 model, like mine, it can start to lag over time. The signs are that the gauges get stuck. I posted a video showing how my oil temperature gauge stopped working. Eventually, other gauges like the speedometer might act up, freezing in place at certain points. The buzzer sound can disappear, and the indicator lights might go on and off on their own. Another common problem for many owners is with the airbag indicator due to a poor contact with the seatbelt pretensioners. In this case, the airbag light on the dashboard comes on. You can reset the error, but it will return due to a bad contact somewhere. If there's an inconsistency in the fuel level indicator, many owners point to the fuel level sensor, where the tracks on the board wear down. The door locks lose their seal over time, allowing water in, which can lead to locks failing and doors not opening or closing in winter. There are also issues with the micro switches in the locks. As a result, the interior light stays on even when the door is completely closed. The door harness starts to break down with age, causing cracked wires that affect window regulators, central locking, and the footwell lighting for the driver and passengers. In the trunk area, the wiring can also break down. In my case, the trunk light stopped working and I had to remove the lining and run new wires to fix it. Recently, I also had to resolder the license plate lighting because it stopped working due to a poor contact. These are some of the weak points and issues you might encounter in the Audi A6 C5 models. If you know of any other issues you've come across, please share them in the comments. See you soon!